Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigor Mortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And for Beast People in May...
There you go, that's the better one.
We're going to be tackling the Dog Men. So last week we did The Legend of Michigan's Dogmen.
I think it's the Legend of the Michigan Dogman.
The Legend of Michigan's Dogmen. And now we're doing Dogmen, which is from a UK, or like more of UK flavor of the Dogman. And honestly, in my opinion, more accurate to the title Dogman.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yes.
Also, we were down to Mikey.
Yeah, we're down to Mikey for this week. He'll be back. Yeah, Mikey shall return. Why did this just turn off?
With all left in. Leaving the whole thing in.
My tablet, why have you forsaken?
Probably restarting or
It's
something.
restarting. It's
because you never use your devices except for specific times. So whenever you turn it on, it's like, oh, you haven't turned me on in a while. I'll just check for updates. Oh, okay, you need updates. Restart. But if you use it consistently, or at least turn it on the day that you need to use it, then you get this out of the way.
So the Dogmen is by Treyui. It's Treyui. Treyui. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Well, that's with an I, so it's Yui.
Treyui.
Probably.
And they're on Creepypasta.wikia. They've done a couple of stories. And this is one of them. So we'll go to the rundown shortly.
Alright, well, essentially, Narrator Man.
Right, his friend is named, not him.
Yes. So
Or
Narrator
she,
Man.
you don't know. Could be a guy or girl.
Narrator Man Woman. And her best friend Ben. They've apparently... they had a very similar childhood.
Yeah.
And despite that, in current day, they don't really have a lot in common. And one being ghost stories. Ben doesn't like hearing ghost stories, but Narrator Man Woman likes saying so.
Yeah.
So
you probably just used Narrator Man just for convenience sake.
No, you've already brought this up, so I need to be...
Well, because you guys
PC.
brought up that I should call them Beast Men.
Narrator person.
Okay, there we go. Narrator person.
Alright, so narrator person and Ben. Okay, so narrator person is telling Ben about creepy ghost stories that he or she heard about in his or her past.
They or them.
I know. And a lot of the ones that they're mentioning, the other one heard a very similar or identical story from their childhood. Meanwhile, they lived...
in separate towns.
Yeah, like across a river, miles apart.
Yeah.
I think it was like 10 miles or something like that. But either way.
Yeah.
So they keep going through a whole bunch of them, and then eventually, Ben brings up, oh, I guess you've heard of the Dogmen then. And narrator person's like, no. So then...
I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
Dogmen? Sure you don't mean werewolf?
So then Ben goes on about it, about essentially a story that in Ben's town, the older kids, they didn't like staying out too late at night, because in the alleyways there were essentially dogmen that would hang out there, and it kind of freaked them out.
Yeah.
So
and we should maybe clarify, so they were either described as homeless people but with dog-like faces, or dogs that were proportioned a little bit wrong.
Well, they don't really get into the whole homeless situation until later.
Oh yeah, that's later. Yeah, but yeah, basically the some sightings they had seen or had been told were oh, it's just some weird dog. It's walking kind of funny. And it's oh god, it's because it's got some of the proportions of a person.
Yeah, we don't get 100% visual on it.
No, we don't.
But yeah. But essentially, the older kids weren't allowed out too late because of that, and even though Ben had a feeling that it's actually legit, because the older kids weren't scaring the younger kids with fake stories about it. They're just like being really serious about it.
It looks. Sorry, I'm also reading the story as you're doing this because it looks like his first thought was that it's just thugs and druggies, but Ben was adamant that it was not that. It was that it was actually dogmen.
Yes.
Because of like how the older kids acted and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And also he's adamant about it because of the wait, did he have a personal experience of it? Or
yes,
was it
him and both narrator person and Ben and I think another person all had the same encounter with something at this building that had been demolished, or like this property that had once had a building on it but had been demolished, and now kind of like had like I guess vagrants or the occasional like homeless person or what have you, like camping out there because it's like a river or stream that runs through the property.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ben saw when he was walking with his mother.
Yeah.
And there was the creek, and they saw like some figure in there washing his hair.
Yeah. And then
but they couldn't really tell what it was.
Their friend Wes, or Ben's friend Wes, who soon became friends with narrator person, said that he encountered one in an alleyway near the near some bins in an alleyway near that spot. And originally he thought it was just a dog like who had grabbed like a huge chunk of chicken from the wheelie bins, like from like the dumpsters, I guess.
Yeah.
But then looked at it and it was like all wrong, and it like climbed up a fence like a person. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that was Wes's story. And then Ben encountered the homeless man bathing. And there's also a fire burning, and then there's like three silhouettes.
Well, that's when narrator person and Ben decide to go out there to check it out.
It's where Ben saw the homeless man bathing.
Yeah. So they go there, and then there's the fire in the distance with multiple people around it, but narrator person wanted to go closer, but Ben is kind of freaked out and didn't want to get any closer, so you can only see so much.
Yeah.
But they're kind of hunched over, and because they call them homeless people at this point, I'm assuming they're wearing clothes?
Like they're wearing like rags
tell.
Probably or something like that.
But yeah, they're just kind of moving weird, and then they go home.
Yeah, they go home and then come back, like I think later, like during the day, and they find the remains of the fire and like even like a soap box or like a soapbox or like some kind of box, like wooden box, a milk crate. That's what it was. And they also find like footprints and handprints, but some of the handprints that were there become paw prints.
Yeah, as they were falling away.
Yeah, just before they faded, and yeah, they basically stared in shock there as they were looking at the trail. They heard yelps and growls of dogs fighting from like somewhere off to the side. So they decided to just like nope out of there, crapping themselves, as it literally says.
I don't know if it's literally or figuratively.
I am not ashamed to say we ran away crapping ourselves.
Was it literally or figuratively crapping yourselves? Like, oh,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like basically like noping out. Yeah. And then they're like, maybe it was just dogs. We didn't care to look, and I'm never going back there to find out. Mm-hmm. Like that kind of story ending, which is fine. And yeah, so that's the dog man. So we'll go into our usual grammar Nazisms, despite our major grammar Nazi not being here today.
That's okay. I'll try to up my ante.
I actually have 3 that are like straight up like just like typo issues and stuff. So starting with the first quote, we had both heard about a one-eyed black cat nobody owns that watches the children play out. And that's literally the end of the sentence. And I think it should be watches the children play outside. Because I looked online to see if like that was some kind of slang, like
play out,
like the play out. But no, as far as I could tell. Now again, like I did a quick Google search for for slang and stuff like that. So any of our UK listeners or Treyui, if you ever listen to this, just let us know. Leave it in the comments. And then the next quote is, his childhood friend Wes claimed to have saw one too. So I think it should be claimed to have seen one too.
Yes.
And then this one is a little bit more, again, just another typo thing. There was just a milk crate sat next to a charred circle on the ground. So I think it should be there was just a milk crate sitting next to a charred circle on the ground.
Or which sat next to.
Which sat, yeah, that would have been too. And that's my grandma's.
Alrighty then. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. None of which you brought up.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right.
So, I don't think any of them are really spelling related. They're just kind of structure.
Okay.
So the first one is, the quote is, "What shocked us was how in sync our childhoods have been. From being born 2 weeks apart to the age of 12, we shared a lot of experiences even though we never met." So, I had to read that a couple times, the second part, because it just seemed to flow weird. The way I rewrote it to see if it's better or not is, "What shocked us was how in sync our childhoods had been. From being born up until the age of 12, we shared a lot of experiences, even though we never met. Our birthdays were even 2 weeks apart." So essentially, it's like it felt like they were trying to hammer home the point that from the point they were born up until 12, they shared everything, including their birthdays.
Yeah.
Where it went from, like, I don't know, it just kind of flows a little bit better.
Like maybe if they'd like from being born 2 weeks apart till and then having very similar experiences up to the age of 12.
Yes.
Like just like less rather than like leave those two far things apart, maybe bring them a little bit closer together.
Yeah, it's just kind of laid out weird.
Yeah.
So yeah. The next one is just the fact that on this quote they used what's the word? Not quotations, but the single one.
Oh,
Can't think of it. Apostrophe?
Yes.
Yeah, these apostrophes for a quote for some reason. On the older kids who were allowed to take out blah 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 blah. That part. I don't need to read the whole thing, I guess.
Like is it is it around the older kids, like the word the older kids, or is it like something?
Well, the quote is, "His words at the time were something like," and I quote, but it's quoting with that apostrophe.
Yeah.
"The older kids who were allowed out in the street told us about the dog man, blah 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 blah," to the end of the quote.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on that one, like, just because I can't recall if that's something that people do, but I'd probably have used quotes or like actual quotes.
Or is apostrophe like a rough quote?
Maybe that, I think that's what I'm trying to think of. Like
Yeah.
maybe that's just a rough quote, and
it's not word for word, but that's essentially what they were saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's possible. Then next one, the quote is, "Obviously it was thugs or druggies," I explained, but he was adamant. "No, because," and he goes on about other things. So this is another issue with quoting things. There's no quoting marks here at all.
Yeah.
It's all just laid out in words with not a single,
No
not apostrophe
signifiers.
or a quotation.
Yeah.
So it should be like, "Drugs or thuggies," and then, okay, thugs or druggies. I just woke up, I'm tired. Quote, I explained, blah, 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 blah.
Just because you just didn't say like thuggies or drugs, like you just added the two words together, just like.
I literally just said that.
I thought you said drugs, like thugs. Okay, maybe I don't know. Fuck.
You tired too?
I'm tired.
Okay, fine. Then the last one is just, these are all sort of the same way. They're just all laid out differently than I would have, I guess, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad, I guess. But the wheelie bins were out that day, period. He said he could hear a cat or a dog feeding on some discarded food behind one of the bins. So my problem with that is it's such a short sentence, the wheelie bins were out that day.
Yeah.
Like, it's a super important thing, but it's really not. So I would have just combined it with the rest of the sentence. So, on that day, he said he could hear a cat or dog feeding on some discarded food behind one of the wheelie bins that were out.
Yeah, that could work.
It's just such a weird thing to have completely by itself in a short sentence.
Well, to show that, like, I don't know, to show that the wheelie bins were out, like, therefore there was some food or discarded food out there or something.
I understand that, but it's its own sentence.
Yeah.
So it should be its own unique, like, thought, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's a continuation. Like, they're out that day, and it's to do with them feeding on it, so why not combine them?
That's fair, yeah.
Especially when it's such a short sentence. It's not like they ran out of room.
Yeah. No, I could go either way with it, but yeah, I would probably go with yours rather than whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Then I guess the only other one is actually in my title section. Just, I'm not sure why it's dashed out between dog and men.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, like, the hyphenation.
Yeah.
I've seen it with a lot of things, like, I'm trying to think now. But I have seen that, like, to, like, describe, like, a kind of a hybrid thing. Because it's, like, it's a dog, but it's also a man, or it's, like...
Yeah.
So I can see, like, why they do that. Also, maybe to separate from, like, just typing in dog man, because, like, there's a lot of those kind of things, like, so they're kind of separated from other dog man stories.
That being said, when you Google dog dash man, the same stuff comes up. It doesn't really change anything.
Or it's the same reason why, like, Slender... Well, you know what? That also means, like, all worlds, because, like, a little bit more recent thing, you know, like, Slender Man is all one word.
Yes.
Most of the time. Well, in Sony's new movie that they're doing, The Slender Man, is literally is Slender Man. It's like 2 words.
I guess it does change how you say it.
It might be like how they were able to acquire the rights for the title or something like that, or like so they could like have like ownership of the title or something for their movie. But for like stories like this, and so that it might just be like that's how they decided to write Dogman.
Yeah, I guess it does change how you say it too. Because if it's like with Slenderman, for example, if it's Slenderman one word, you say it like that. But if it's dash, you would say Slender Man. Like you put that break
or
in.
like Dogman.
Dogman, yeah.
Yeah, just like one word, make it one word. Whereas this one's like Dogmen, because they are not just dogmen. They are men that have dog features or that are also dogs.
Which would make them dogmen as well.
Yeah.
Also, just personally for me, whenever I'm writing stuff out, if I use dashes a lot as a like when I enter down and use dashes to list things.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, to me, it's saying like the dog and then like men, like separated from it. I don't know, just me being weird, I guess.
Fair.
It's like, is the story about the dog who is actually men?
Oh my!
It's like they're separated, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a dog made out of men.
That's deep.
I know. And stupid. But yeah, that's about it for Grammar Nazi related things.
Alright. And we're just going to push that back into the nitpick note.
Yeah, thank you.
And into the actual notes.
I mean, I had to take over for Mikey.
Yeah.
Somewhat, right?
So I'm going to actually start with the. So my first couple of notes are actually based off of like just reactions to the first part of the story. I'm going to start with the quote of a paragraph. I met my best friend when I was 19. We started a degree in music together and had absolutely nothing in common, which we loved about each other. What shocked us was how in sync our childhood had been. From being born 2 weeks apart to the age of 12, we shared a lot of experiences, even though we had never met. Wait, didn't you say that, like, didn't your quote, like, from being born to the age of 12?
Yes.
But in the story, it's from being born 2 weeks apart to the age of 12.
Yes.
Okay, I have no problem with what was said there.
Okay, my problem is they're saying that they have so many things similar. From being born, they're saying, like, we have a lot of things in common. I was born, you were born...
No, they were born 2 weeks apart, so they were born really close together.
Okay, it's like this. It's saying they have so much in common from this to this, as in saying from this thing, and then to as in being another thing.
Yeah. I think what would be more interesting to bring that to light would be from being born 2 weeks apart in the same hospital. Like, that would have been a little bit more interesting. Like,
they're 10 miles apart.
But then their families moved apart, moved to separate places.
Okay.
I know. We're not going to debate because we're going to keep cycling over. I just I'm kind of more on board with the story, how the story presented it, but
it's laid out like it's about to list a list of things,
but then it doesn't.
But it doesn't.
Okay, that's
my problem.
Okay, fair enough. Well, my initial reaction to that first paragraph that we get in the story is this going to be a buddy horror?
I hope so.
Sadly, not quite, but kind of. Like, it's not buddy. It's buddy horror in that the two protagonists share the horror experience or share the creepy experience together as buddies. And
It's not a true buddy horror.
But it's not a true buddy horror in that, like, one of the buddies is a monster.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually going to end up being the case, where it turns out...
Well, it turns out to be a dog man.
Exactly, yeah. Like a shape-shifting of something.
Yeah.
And then the next section of the paragraphs is... I remember Ben telling me about a VHS he used to have with Huxley Pig and Will Quack Quack cartoons on it, saying how obscure it was and how I'd love it. I replied that I knew exactly which VHS he was referring to, and also still had a copy of it. So my initial reaction was, is this sort of going to go through... Is this going to become like a lost episode pasta? Where like... Because I didn't know who Huxley Pig or Quack Quack is.
They're actual things.
Yeah, I did look at. I did Google it. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's a UK thing. Okay, cool. So
one's a cartoon about a duck, and the other one is a stop motion animation about a horrifying pig.
Yes, that was broadcast primarily in the UK. So the story is very established. At the very least, at this point, we are establishing that it is set in like well, maybe not London, but the UK at least.
Yeah.
So. All right, and then my next one was...
Actually, before we move on, because I didn't make a note of this, but it's about this. As soon as they started mentioning VHS tapes with these cartoons on it, for me, I immediately thought they had a blank tape that they were recording stuff, and they just happened to record the exact same episodes.
Well, see, that's why I thought we were going to go into like some lost... Like, it's really not... Because it's kind of a red herring, because like I expected it to be like, so wait, is the Dogman stuff going to be tied to these VHS tapes that you shared? But no, it's just like another. Basically, this was another listing off of like what like the similarities they had. But yeah, like,
because those are two obscure shows.
At least for us, because we're not from that country. So
yeah, I guess I didn't look hard enough on Google to see if they have a combined VHS set that has both. Cartoons on it from the store.
Yeah.
But because they're two different things, I assumed they were just recorded on a blank VHS.
Yeah. But that may not be the case.
Yeah.
Because I assume that like...
Because he says, I have the exact same one.
Yeah, so it's going to be the VHS. Unless you mean like he used to have it and he lost it, or his mom like put it at a thrift store and then he bought it. That would have been a cool maybe like flesh out like how like crazily coincidental their like friendship has become, because like he owns the same like recorded tape that he got from a thrift store.
Yeah,
like that would be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my next thing is actually a little bit farther down with when he's talking about like looking online about the Dogmen. So the quote is like, there wasn't much information about the Dogmen. The details were vague. Have you tried looking up werewolf or dog man, not dog dash man? Because you Google Dogman, you're going to get the Michigan Dogman story, the legend, Dogman sightings, werewolves. Like I Googled that and like I find that stuff. So it's like it was kind of like a little like I guess for the stories universe it's harder to find, but.
Yeah, that might just be the case.
Or like maybe the UK's like internet is a little bit different than ours.
No,
it's not. It's not like China, which has a firewall.
Yeah, exactly.
Around their internet. Yeah. So. I thought that was kind of like odd. I was like, did you try looking up werewolf? Because at that point, I didn't know, we hadn't gotten a full description of what the Dogmen were.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The story is about something specifically called a Dogman.
Yeah.
So if you looked up stuff on a werewolf, it's not the same story.
Yeah, no, but you would still find stuff on Dogmen, or like, I guess you would say, because again, at this point in the story, we don't have a description of the Dogmen, what they're talking about.
Yes.
And it's not until later. So I guess my reaction was really like just preemptive, because I had got like, now that I'm thinking on it, like the reason why he wasn't like, he was dismissing maybe those other Dogman stories and whatnot is because they were Wolfmen stories, whereas these ones are definitely a different thing. And actually, that's my next note. Mm-hmm. So segueing to that, basically, like I just have like the quote is basically that I jotted down was basically the one I referenced earlier in the rundown at the end. So. There's not a lot of actual action in this story or like visceral payoff to the story. There's no real. The characters are never really fully in danger.
No,
it's more or less like kind of a grounded mystery, like regarding this place, like where the vagrants live, and like the Dogmen themselves. And it's trying to ground. It does try to ground the setting or the setup for the story, to make it more believable and real. Like, but it's more like subdued mystery and like a little bit of it basically have a nostalgic atmosphere to it, rather than like the monsters are coming out of the alleyway and grabbing children and ripping them apart. Like, it's not like visceral horror. It's more like there's a very subdued level, like to make it kind of more like a traditional kids' ghost story, or like the rumors that kids bring about like that local haunted house, kind of, or that abandoned house, and like like there's like cults or something like that in there. Mm-hmm. Also, regarding the dog men, name. These ones sort of fit that nomenclature, like I said just a minute ago. Like, they are better described as dog men, like domestic dog men. Like domestic species of dog.
Like, they don't specifically say it's like a wolf, or put up a picture of a wolf.
Then the Michigan, especially then the Michigan dog man, which is basically more of a wolf-like creature.
Yeah.
And in fact, I almost, like, aside from like domesticated dog, a couple of times in the story, we were getting what descriptions we did get of the dogman, and like the vagrantness of it, I was kind of getting Skaven or Ratfolk from Warhammer.
Yeah,
like in my head.
At one point they said he wasn't sure if he had fur or not.
Yeah,
so
like we've been playing like Vermintide,
and
twice. Yeah, we've been playing it though.
Okay,
but I kind of kept picturing like something like rat-like little guys. I'd also say that this would have been a decent candidate for our Hobovember, coming up, but it says Dogman, so it goes into Beast People in May.
Really doesn't go off the tongue.
Beast Folk in May.
Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue very well.
No, you know what? Next year we might have to do Beast Folk in February, or Beast Folk February.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Just so there's an F, the exact
Beast
F
Folk.
Because the reason I did it in Beast Man or Beast May was because Beast May spelled.
And then we immediately fucked it up for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
As you like to do. And that's really my notes on the story, aside from my final thought. So
it would be Beast Folk You Berry.
Okay, yeah. Beast Folkuary.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway.
Sign up for it.
Yeah, so.
We have potential Hobovember. This is a teaser trailer for Hobovember coming.
Yeah. So basically, very subdued, horror, creepiness.
Those are huge quotes you did there.
Has
double quotes, not the single ones.
Yeah. I like it for the being kind of like a more like child's rumor, or a kid's account of like some spooky thing in their neighborhood kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But that's really my thoughts on it.
Did we ever really get an age of these people? Because they met
when they were 19.
That's nice. Oh yeah. Okay.
So they were about in their around their 20s or early 20s.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my actual thoughts. Do you have any extra actual thoughts before we go to finals?
So, my first note here that I have for the dog.
I will stab you.
Please don't. No. Alright, so my first part, I thought you were going to touch on this, and you didn't touch on it at all.
What did I not touch on?
Early on, when they're describing how they're similar, and it's saying, we started a degree in music together and had absolutely nothing in common. And then later on, from being born 2 weeks apart to the age of 12, we shared a lot of experiences, even though we never met. And through reading both of those, I'm like, except for the fact that you both love music, you're both going to school for it, you both have the same birthday, you had 12 years of similar experiences throughout your entire upbringing, and you can go into constant story battles with each other about repeated monsters that you both know about, but you have absolutely nothing in common.
I have a counter to that, but it's really more like how to make this story work with what they just said. Personality-wise, they have nothing in common. They're completely different. They're very different people in terms of their past personality and
Would you say they have absolutely nothing in common?
No, I would absolutely not. After you bring that up, they really it kind of contradicts itself in a bad way, because it's they're both going into music, like you said, basically everything you just said. except that they apparently have absolutely nothing in common except for all this other stuff.
And the worst part is, it's in the same sentence.
I know.
We started a degree in music together and had absolutely nothing in common. You immediately have something in common.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would reword it to say, like, you list all those things and be like,
our personalities were different, or like
despite nowadays having nothing in common, we
grew up with very similar circumstances.
Yes, but
like that kind of like bringing that out.
But our likes and dislikes nowadays are very different.
Except for our love for music.
Fuck.
I think it really just needs to be centered down to like they were very different people personality wise, but that opposites kind of attracted them to be friends.
Yeah.
Like despite the fact that they like butted heads or maybe or something like that, they still had like the same love of music. They had very similar it really just
absolutely nothing.
It really just needs to stop being absolutely nothing in common and just be like our personalities were different or something because it's kind of detracting from everything else you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah. Just nowadays,
it could also just be like, oh, we had so much in common, absolutely everything in common.
Yeah, we had everything in common. Although nowadays our likes are different to each other's. Yeah, so we butt heads on things.
Exactly, which they absolutely love about each other. So it's like, yeah.
But yeah, that was just weird.
Yeah, no, legit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't bring that up. I guess it went over my head for a minute. Like,
yeah, that jumped out to me so much. And then, jumping through the stories, and we're at their own sighting, because I didn't really have much written down about the other two sightings.
Yeah.
So, they see their own sighting, and then they go there the next day, and it says, we can make out sooty handprints where where at least one of the homeless people had presumably crawled directly over the charred ground. So, at this point, all they say is handprints. I don't, if you can see the handprints, why don't you describe them to us? Are they human? Are they dog? Are they something in between?
Well,
That's the first, I know, but at that point, when they describe it, all they say is handprints.
Yeah.
So if it's immediately human handprints, it's like, okay, haha, we were just... That is what they're trying to get across, but because this is all about dogmen, I want to know what they're seeing.
I think they're playing off that, again, like it might not be, but to me, it sounded like it could be playing off of you can see their handprints, and then you assume it's human prints, and then they start saying that it's like they start turning into dog prints. I think they're either purposely or not purposely letting you assume that they're human prints because they look like normal people. They look like just like human vagabonds.
Yeah, because the line after that says something about it looks like we were just stalking some homeless people for a couple hours, ha ha ha. Yeah. But if you immediately say we see some human handprints, then immediately you're like, okay, they're just homeless people, fine.
You see, though, when I would hear that, we saw human handprints, I actually immediately start speculating, why did you say human handprints?
Because they're assuming they were dogmen.
I understand.
And then you get there, and then they're human.
When I read that, if I was to read that, I would. So it's is there going to? It both works and kind of spoils what's going to be coming next because it helps prime for when as the hands faded, we saw paw prints.
I don't know, but you can also set that up for the twist because you can be we looked around and we see the normal-looking handprints. I guess they actually did that. They went, I guess we were just watching some normal homeless people. I guess we'll go home. And then as they're following the prints, oh wait, those prints are looking less and less normal.
That's true, yeah.
It still works. It's just, I didn't have a proper visual from the get-go. Because
and that's your biggest problem about these stories.
I don't like having to assume so much. You have words.
Whereas I am totally fine with assuming things.
Yeah, how dare you.
That's what I get for liking to fabricate shotguns.
Yeah. I mean, if I could fabricate a shotgun just out of thin air, it'd be nice. It would also be very loud, so it'd be bad for my profession.
Yeah. So you really shouldn't fabricate a shotgun, more like shurikens?
Yeah, I could fabricate shurikens, sure. Yeah. Anyway, if I could fabricate a silent shotgun, which would also be blasphemy.
I was just going to say, you can never truly silence a shotgun. Anyway, we're getting a little off track.
You actually can.
Okay, whatever.
Okay. You can totally silence a shotgun.
Okay.
But it's also it's like putting a silencer on an AK. It's just blasphemy because you don't use it for that purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting off track now.
We are.
Okay. Well then.
Thanks for padding up the episode.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. I have to fill in for 2 people. Well,
But
yes,
no,
I do
you do
actually.
not.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, my next one is an it story. No, I didn't.
You're like, no.
How dare you? When it struck me. Okay, sorry. I just noticed an it in my next quote. Okay, so, the end of this.
Yeah.
I want to know actually what you thought first, before I say what I thought.
Okay.
What did you think about the twist at the end? I don't know.
That the dog, like with the dogs yell or growling and some of that. Off
No, before that.
Or
There's
was
this,
it-
like, weird... Okay, well, let's go over it. Fuck
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
As the hand... Okay, yeah, it's as it transforms and such. As the hand trail faded, he pointed out a large paw print becoming more and more prominent in the middle of the fading handprints, whatever. Then it struck me why I found their gait so weird the night before. As that man had walked closer to the fire, he placed his feet in exactly the same spot where his hands had been. Whoa.
Yeah. Okay.
What a revelation.
Also, I
Like,
will say
that last part I don't get. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
My thing actually, and I remember now, like being a little like commenting about it mentally, but then write down when he says like the hands were fading and then the paw prints were forming inside the handprints. I was like, so is the paw print like coming out of his palm and like forming a new like is his hand like is it like a weird like transformation where like his hand's still there and the paw is growing out of it and then it shrinks in like
Maybe.
like that's what I was kind of seeing. Like he puts his hand down and then the paw comes out of the palm and as it like it's like that's
I just assumed every like print, the palm got more and more pad-like.
I guess, yeah, that could be what that meant.
Yeah.
It's just the way I felt it. It was like, wait, so he's both a man and a dog at the same time. Maybe that's why it's dog-man.
Or what it could be is
Dog
like,
man.
okay, even if it is that, even if it's meant to be that where there's a handprint with a paw in it,
Yeah.
it could be because he walks with his front,
And then the
and then
hands
as the foot
the-
comes in, that one is dog-like.
Yeah. Which could explain also the thing at the end is like where like they like noticed his gait was different was that he was basically maybe that's how they avoid detection is that they cover they make sure their paw prints are inside the same like their handprints like their human prints.
I guess.
It's kind of a weird.
Yeah, I guess that sort of makes sense now.
They
Because
also
he's
have-
saying, he mentioned now, he's saying, what shit? As the man walked closer to the fire, he placed his feet in exactly the same spot. So, I guess that's what they're trying to get across. It is a human handprint with a dog print in
And
it.
they're hiding, like they're trying to hide their fact that there's dog prints and human prints in the same spot, or no, like not the same spot, but like the same like area. So like
They're essentially making
they're trying to conceal themselves.
They're making it look like there's a people like handstanding, walking away.
So I'm wondering, like, are these people like because we're like as far as I can tell, the description of these dogmen is that they have like their faces have kind of like short dog-like snouts and some of that.
Yeah.
And they have human hands, and like the way I'm getting described is that their lower like their legs are dog-like.
Yeah, after this,
So like it's kind of like
maybe revelation.
It is actually-
revelation. I'm kind of starting to think of them looking more like satyrs in like where their
satyrs
lower
or
body.
ghouls, like Lovecraft Pikmin ghouls. Now, mind you,
Pikmin?
Pikmin is actually like the most prominent one from like Lovecraft stories.
It's also a cute Nintendo game.
Sorry, not Pikmin, Pikman.
Oh,
As in pick, the tool pick and the word man smashed together.
Pikmin,
Yeah.
where you're like this cute little
No, anyway.
and throwing little aliens around.
Just,
No,
alright.
I said no. Why? Okay, go ahead.
So, New England ghouls, because
Yes.
there's actually a difference between New England ghouls and normal ghouls, because normal ghouls are more as, like, Middle Eastern, like, zombies. But New England ghouls, as done by Lovecraft, are rubbery dark blue skinned, dog-snouted men or women with...
People.
People, yes. That also have like dog-like legs, except they're
Like furry? Or are they just like the weird? Like,
no, they're
back, like,
completely
thing
yeah.
or
Basically,
whatever?
like they're dog like they look like a canine lit like arm. They're not furred. They're all rubbery skin. Like
Okay,
like
they just
horses.
have the back leg
Exactly.
thing. Okay.
And while the original like stories proposed that or had that the feet was cloven hooved, a lot of modern interpretations have kind of given them a mix between like cloven hoof ones or like sometimes they're actually just dog print like dog ones. So they're kind of
hooved.
It's just the way Lovecraft wrote them.
I mean, it's a fucked up monster, so whatever.
Exactly. Yeah,
it could be whatever.
I mean, they're corpse eaters basically, so they're just ghoulish.
They could have duck feet for all we know.
Yes. But yeah, so like and like basically like those like smaller print like smaller footed hind legs kind of thing.
Yeah.
So these kind of almost like remind me of like the New England ghoul in terms of like what they look like because they are ghoul. The New England ghouls are very much like dog men in terms of their like upper body where they have a dog face, usually very exaggerated, like they can open their mouth super wide to eat like flesh and stuff.
Yes.
But they have like human hands, like upper torso and some of that, and then their bottom is very much like either a satyr's. But sometimes
is that like a minotaur then?
No, it's.
I can't think of it. Like, minotaurs don't have normal legs, do they?
No, minotaurs generally do have a minotaur is just a
it's just a buff dude with a bull head.
Yes,
okay,
that was the original thing. People like D&D and some of that have given it more of a bull-like aspect, or like the Tauren for World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
well, that's more like that's more like making it bestial than man.
That's a bull
because they're supposed to be like actually like just evolved from a bull creature or something like that. Whereas, well, if you take the Minotaur, it was literally the hybrid of Zeus became a bull, fucked the Queen of Minos.
Yes,
and so it has human DNA and Minotaur god DNA,
but only in his face.
Yes,
for reasons.
Greek mythology.
Yeah, fair.
Anyway, but getting back to the story, yeah, like this harkens back again. Weird. The cultist likes Lovecraft stuff or finds things Lovecraftian. I could definitely see this being like these just being like New England ghouls, but in England proper. Which again,
they're new.
Well, no,
England ghouls.
Well, in a lot of the more recent like publications and like literature, like stuff that was inspired by Lovecraft or the Cthulhu mythos, like the games and the stories and stuff like that, they do have them all over the world. Like there's a handful of British authors that use Lovecraft's like Cthulhu mythos, so there's probably ghouls in England and stuff like that. And they're basically just they go where corpses are, so because they're corpse eaters, and they also infiltrate like the homeless population as well.
And in this one, there was one running away with a chicken in its mouth or something. Yeah, which is a corpse, not a human corpse, but a corpse.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they generally eat the flesh of the dead flesh.
Yeah.
But
so do we.
No, but more human dead flesh. But you get what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, like when you brought up the satyr thing, it kind of reminded me more of like the ghouls than a full satyr.
Yeah,
but it's the same. It's the same kind of premise too.
I feel like reading through this, my image of what they're trying to portray the Dogman as constantly changed.
Yeah, no, that is actually one of the detractors for the story is that like we never really get a full image of the story of the creature, and like
I thought you'd like assuming.
I do, and I would say like that's why my opinion on this is rather middle like fence like on the fence kind of thing. Because,
spoilers.
Yeah,
that they don't have to listen to the end to know.
No. I mean, my opinion of the creature,
yes,
and the description, not of the story itself.
Of course. So stay tuned for that.
Because like I wouldn't mind seeing like a full like version of the creature. Like you wanted to see like a full version of the creature, but I'm fine also like kind of just in my head coming up with what this thing like actually is, or just like kind of like having it fluctuate a little bit because again it kind of harkens to the whole like rumor aspect of the story, which is like these are all kids' ghost stories that like and like kids like you're not sure if they're how much of that is truth or how much of that is just them fabricating a shotgun.
Yeah.
Because the false memories are like exaggerating things and stuff. So.
Yeah.
And again, sorry. We are. It's also these creatures are kind of steeped in a little bit of mystery because they're shrouded or like they're off to the distance, like next to a fire at night. So like they're supposed to be mysterious and like you're never really supposed to get a full grasp of them.
Yeah, and I don't want them to just pop out in the daylight and go, "Here I am."
Yeah, just like just like, "Hey kids," just like open his t-shirt, just like full glory.
Yeah, no,
not at all.
None of that. No. But it kind of seemed like he was starting to go down the rabbit hole, narrative person.
Yeah.
Where I kind of wanted this to keep going.
Oh, yeah, like the conspiracy of it?
Yeah, he could have gotten in touch with 3 or 4 other people. And the more people he gets in touch with, the more information he gets. So as you're reading through the story, through part 1, 2, 3, if it was continuing, you build more and more of an image of this creature.
Or of
so by
creatures,
the end,
it seems
of creatures, yes,
more of them,
exactly. So by the end, you would actually have an image in your head. So it's not like most creepypastas where it's like, here's a literal image. This is what it looks like. Here he is, booga booga. There you go.
Yeah,
this
one has like
a slow reveal is fine, but it's
it feels like this one's like a slow reveal and the start of a bigger story, but the character doesn't want to go near them because they saw they heard a pack of monsters and they realized that there was something creepy. They were on the set. He was going down that rabbit hole and down that trail, but he saw a little too much that he didn't want to see, and he's like, "Oh, fuck it, I'm out of here." Nope, just nopes out, and
that's fine. But even if this did want to be continued, you can take it from the aspect of someone else reading about this, and that person getting super interested and using that creepypasta as some start of it, and then they continue further.
That or another person in the neighborhood. And then, you even just narrator person, I should give them a name, contacting them, Ben and Wes, or have them as side characters in another story about who's digging a little bit deeper into these vagrants that seem to have that are very secluded, very secretive, and have this maybe there's some kind of secret circle or society of them in the sewers underneath in the more obscure parts of the alleyways or streets of this place, because I definitely got an atmosphere about the place while reading the story.
Yeah,
there's definitely there's no definites, but I definitely got this kind of oppressive.
There's no definites, but definitely.
Well, no. There's no specific I didn't get full a full layout of this area.
No, but
you definitely got really strong impressions of this dereliction, abandonment, and some oppressiveness from the alleyways when they were described. So so that's
just a pristine, pretty city.
It was less a defined cityscape, or urban decay cityscape, and more of the impression of a creepy, downtrodden a block or neighborhood.
Yeah, because there's no point going on at length for an entire paragraph about the city. You're not there for the city.
Exactly, yeah. But the way the story did provide it, it gave you a decent enough impression of the setting. Is what I was getting at. So
yes.
But yeah, the description, I do feel like this series, I would actually like this story to if the person's out there and if they're listening and if they have any inclination, by all means, go for continue this story, expand this idea of the dogmen of this area, because that would be interesting to see where it goes.
But so far, these are more dogmen than all the dogmen we have dogmen so far.
Yes, that being one. The Michigan one.
The fact still remains.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that all the other ones will also be
the next
Wolfmen.
The next one is going to be a werewolf story, just a straight werewolf story. So,
then, yeah.
And then the next ones after that will have an elk man and then the Iceman.
So this will be the one that is most dogman.
Yes. Also, I do find it funny that last week I did bring up the dogmen, the name dogman would actually be more fitting to Dingo Man or something in Australia, where it was more like a domestic dog than a wolf. And then we get this story, which is more like a domestic dog or a rat thing, or rat man.
More along the lines of what we wanted.
Yeah.
More fitting for the name.
Yeah.
Because this one, you can't really just switch it to Wolfman and make it make sense. It doesn't feel right for some reason. Because they're not...
Because these aren't wolfmen.
Yeah.
There's no description of a wolf. It's more domestic urban dog.
But
or
some
rat.
weird,
or rodent
version of them.
Yeah, or maybe they're just mutation where they can't... Well, we do see that they... Well, that's the thing. We don't actually see them transform. And we never actually see them up close. These people up close. So it's kind of left... I'm kind of the impression that they don't transform. That they're just mutated of some kind. Like ghoul. Like Pikmin ghouls.
If he's wearing pants, he's just wearing long pants. And
exactly. And then the reason why they're moving the way they move, to cover their paw prints onto their handprints, is so that they cover up the fact that there's paw prints instead of people prints. So like it's much again like harkens back to the ghoul thing, where like ghouls don't transform into normal people most of the time, or they usually have some kind of glamour spell or something like that. But like it's not a genetic, it's not a racial trait to give us RPG elements. It's they're stuck with the dog legs and the dog face and the human body. So they, much like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they put on like giant baggy like jackets,
trench coats, and Groucho Marx masks.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Like that kind of thing. As they're just using the night, the darkness, the cover of night, and like being close to like other like-minded or like individual or like-kinded individuals, near like a bonfire or something like that. And again, even bonfire, like fires aren't like they provide light, but they don't provide a full light. It's like again concealing themselves with shadow and stuff. So yeah, we get this kind of like
it would actually cast darkness more on their back.
Exactly. So you wouldn't get the full view of them.
You would have to be around the front of them. So if they position themselves right, like all with their backs to where there would be people, they would just look like shadowy figures in the distance.
Yeah. So this is definitely not a werewolf or not a wolf creature so much. At least to me, like this is more a mutant kind of thing, like something that's like hiding itself because it can't hide it any other way. Hence why it's also in the homeless population, because that's like another way to stay hidden is to just hide yourself among other people who are also like hiding
always
themselves
cloaked
because they're trying to get warm and stuff. So that you basically you fit in well.
Makes me wonder if they're obviously intelligent.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if they're intelligent enough that they'll just hang out with actual hobos and be like, "Hey, Steve, Marf." Like, they can't talk, but they're chill, you know.
I mean, they can talk. I mean, we don't know if they can talk or not. I guess
that's what I'm saying. But they could be passive enough that it's just like, "Hey, what's up?"
Basically, like just like nod and some of that, or like go to like a go to a homeless shelter or something like that, and like just cover themselves, just grab some food, and then move on. Or again,
because they apparently have human hands.
Yeah, or go to the back alley when they're like getting rid of the refuse and like grab some of that food and stuff. So
which is how that one guy saw him.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was in the back alley. Because he takes that alley as a shortcut because he's so far away from getting to the food store.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. These past few recordings, my vision of dog sort of men have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, because
originally it's
just werewolves.
Where it's like, the idea is you're a dude, you have lycanthropy, there's a full moon, you howl and you start murdering people.
Yeah, it's really your whole thing was just like werewolves, like the alien guy. Aliens.
I'm not saying it's werewolves, but it's werewolves. Yeah, but that's normal werewolves. And then the Michigan Dog Man, it's a curious but very passive wolf man.
Wolf man. We're not sure if it's a werewolf particularly, but it's just a wolf man.
Who is also perimeter patrol for the SNTF. That's fine.
Yes.
But but this one, they're like absolutely passive were-hobos.
And they're just, or dog hobos. Because, they're, again, werewolf... Okay, so werewolf literally just means wolf man. Because, like, were, I think, is... Again, I'm so sorry if I'm getting that wrong. But
we haven't Googled anything here for this.
I know that were means like, I think. Like, wolf-like.
Oh.
Or wolf man. I know that werewolf... I know that lycanthrope is literally just wolf man. Or man that is wolf.
Okay.
So I think werewolf is a similar situation.
Yeah, probably.
But like,
I don't know specifically.
It's not they're not were hobos in the because were hobos just like they're man hobos.
Or they kill hobos and they wear them because they're cold.
That would be a dark version of the Dog Man. Like they kill other like hobos and take their stuff. But we don't get that yet. So
that'd be a weird kind of twist if you titled it The Were-Hobo, and you assume it's a werewolf, a hobo that turns into a werewolf.
But it's
actually some weird monster that wears hobos.
Oh. Yeah, no, that's our... Somebody please write that so I can have that for November, for Hobovember.
There you go.
But anyway, because I don't want to have just stories that, like horror stories, that kind of subjugate hobos as evil, because hobos aren't always evil. Like...
I'm pretty sure 99% of them aren't evil.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, but in horror stories, you try to make you're making the the monster like something, and generally, like the cheap way would be to make the hobo the bad guy, but they're not really bad people. They're just people down on their luck and stuff.
I don't often see hobos portrayed as bad people in media. I
Really?
don't know how you're seeing this.
Okay, I've seen it a couple times, but
I remember, like in Batman or whatever, it's like he gives the hobo his coat. It's a nice coat.
I've seen
He's
it.
not a
I've
bad
seen it.
guy.
That's Batman though. Anyways, we're getting off track again. So, do you have anything else to say about the for actual thoughts before we go into finals?
Well, just to comment on the comments, actually. Did you read them?
No, I didn't actually.
There was only 3,
Okay.
So I figured I might as well. So there are 3 very varied responses. One being yay, that it's realistic and that they're more human than a dog.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then the second one being meh, they're more human than a dog. And so, and then the last one is being yay meh. It's like or yay meh. It's kind of both because it's saying it's not because that person says it's not scary, but werewolf hobos freak them out. 7 out of 10.
So it's basically our usual yes, no, maybe.
Totally.
For recommendations.
Yeah.
Awesome. Also, wasn't one of them you made the monster way too sympathetic? I thought because I do remember a comment of that, but I'm not sure if
that might be the second guy saying meh.
Yeah,
because they're so human. They're way too humanized.
Oh yeah,
or something
that's
like that.
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of agree. I agree and disagree because the story doesn't again. There's not a whole lot here yet. This is developing something bigger, and then it just stops. But there is a lot of potential in the story for to explore the world, this underground world of dogmen in the UK,
yes.
or in this UK town, which maybe is London because they talk about being on two sides of the river, which I think is the River Thames. Which goes right through London, London has satellite.
We also don't know specifically.
No, we absolutely do not.
Because, have you ever watched British comedy?
I watched or was it Black Book? I think it was Black Book. So yes,
that's what I'm saying. It's there's a possibility that 2 people from anywhere could both also like British comedy.
That's true.
That being said, they're probably Britain because they say Willy Benz.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're from the UK.
Yeah, somewhere in the UK.
Anyway, so I guess we'll go into our final thoughts then?
Yes.
Alright, cool. So, my final thoughts is, I liked it. No.
I'm surprised.
Not very scary, ultimately, but there is that mystery creep into it. It's as well as that kind of dark nostalgia of remembering creepy things from your childhood and then having them those kind of things drenched back up. It's a very common theme in horror stories of where you're recalling stuff from your childhood that you remember, and some of it being creepy or something like that, and then you start looking into it a little bit deeper, and then you kind of reveal that there were you might have encountered something spooky in your childhood, or recalling spooky ghost stories or sightings of something. I always dig that kind of thing in a story when it comes to I love nostalgic horror, I guess is what it's kind of could be termed.
Yeah.
The stuff from It, Are You Afraid of the Dark kind of stuff. Those kind of stories where you're remembering your childhood and having something spooky happen in your childhood, and then trying to look for it again later in life.
Yeah.
Even as early as your 20s and stuff, and then encountering said thing again, or looking into it and going deeper, and then finding something, and then the whole idea of these dogmen, rat folk thing, these creatures.
You still calling them rat folk, man?
Because they still kind of remind, they're kind of ratty looking, or they're kind of for some reason I got this ratty look, and maybe that's just because they're they're wearing homeless
ratty
attire. But yes, these dogmen have a lot more interesting thing to them than even the Michigan dogmen. As interesting as that one is, I kind of want to know more about the dogmen of the UK than the one in North America. Because these ones have more whereas that one's we talked about what that one was all what it could be about and some of that, but it really kind of just felt again a werewolf kind of thing, or loop guru, or some kind of shape shifting thing in the woods. This one's in an urban environment, and and yes, they're in derelict areas of urban environments, but having a monster in an urban environment has something infiltrating what is supposed to be a safe space because there's a lot of people. So having something hidden among the populace is just as chilling as having something in the woods.
Because it shows how smart it is, too.
Exactly, yeah. and having it's like why I think why Mimic was such a good movie was because it was about giant bug monsters that were literally eating the homeless in Manhattan and could mimic them, like change their shell and their carapace and stuff to look like a homeless guy.
Oh.
Yeah, really fucking creepy.
Well, then.
And again, like they were like the sewers, like in like the tight and oppressive, like abandoned tunnels of like New York and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, it's like with this story's the impression of the area. Like we have a focused site, whereas in the Michigan Dogman stuff, it's just the woods of Michigan. And I mean, it's
a whole bunch of different people's accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess this is too. It's three people's accounts.
Yeah, but it's all in one space.
Yeah.
This one takes all place in one area. And I think this one's a little bit more defined. I think.
Does that make it more scary or less scary to you? I would say it almost makes it a little less scary because you know it's not as widespread.
Yes and no.
Because it's possibly just focused there.
Yeah, but that still means like that there's this place in that like you may not want to visit or go near, or you may want to get scares.
Yes, but you know to avoid it. You know specifically where to avoid that creature.
I suppose to that,
or if it's anywhere in the northwest, in the northeast, you know,
or like anywhere on the Michigan Peninsula.
Yeah.
But I guess to that degree, yeah, it's like you're not sure where the monster's coming from. But in this one, like you know where the monster's den is, but you also don't know what to expect because like nobody's really like dared to go in there, kind of thing. So like I don't know, I could go either way. Honestly, I'm more of the opinion. I think it's more or less the same in terms of like, creepiness. It's just this one's a little bit more honed into a central area.
Yeah.
And I guess bottom line, I enjoyed the story. I think it could use some work in terms of maybe fleshing out like the setting a little bit more. Like I would actually like to see a little bit more written about these dogmen and stuff.
Yeah.
There's definitely some potential in the story, and I'd honestly recommend it.
Alrighty. I don't know how to think, honestly. I might have to say maybe and no at the same time. No, I don't know. Because comparing this to the Michigan Dogman, I don't know which one I prefer. Because, in a way, the Michigan Dogman is more worrisome and scarier because he is shown to actively be pursuing people. Like that one night watchman who brings out the camera and takes a picture of it. It's like coming towards him.
And then
he takes a picture and it makes him run away.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if he wasn't paying attention, he could have possibly killed him.
Yeah, or when those like in the '60s, the guys were canoing and then the guy was running across along the bank and then jumped in the water and started like trying to grab them.
Yeah, so you know it has the potential of being hostile.
Whereas these guys,
it's like an actual animal.
Yeah, whereas these guys seem more like they have more human intelligence to them. Like they're literally just trying to like live off the urban landscape.
Yeah, where like the Michigan Dogman is like 75% wolf, 25% man. These ones are like
75% more man and 25% wolf.
Or maybe closer to half, maybe. Yeah. But actually a lot of human because they have to think. Yeah, they have a lot of things. Yes,
their face looks like is that of a dog's, but their brain is more of that developed as a man.
Yes, because they know it's like, okay, I have to put my hands down and bring my feet onto it.
Yeah, like they've developed. So I think what it is like these ones have a more developed society. Like, and by society I mean like they have a bit more developed like methods and like culture in that like traditions of like how to stay hidden among the populace.
Yeah.
Whereas the Dogman, he's just this roaming Bigfoot like creature. Really, that's
because he's an animal.
Yeah, he's more of a beast man or he's more beast than man. Whereas these guys are more man than beast.
Yes.
And I mean man and human, not man as in male.
You're just scared of like social justice warriors attacking you or something.
But yeah, so yeah, I feel like to a degree, like to that end, I think like the Wolfman, the legend of the Michigan Dogman is more, more of a more beast and more like dangerous than these guys. These guys like we don't really see them do anything to people other than just like bug out.
Yeah, they just
when they get caught.
Like I feel like. If there is
they're creepy and they're really just creepy in their appearance and their nature.
Yeah, it's like if there is a Dogman sitting there in front of the fire, And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then I see the Michigan Dogman come up, I'm like, okay, I need to run now.
Yeah, or like
because of that specifically.
Looking at you and so that. And like, yeah, we hear like the dogs, like they heard dogs like almost like they were fighting or something like that. So like they might have just been like having an argument somewhere. And like not even like threatening to the guys there.
Yeah.
They might have just overheard an argument.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which again is something. Again, brings me back to the ghouls of the New England ghouls because they have they can speak human. They can speak people, but they don't. They generally have their own like language of like gibbering and nips and some of that.
Yeah.
Almost like hyena-esque or like kind of like that of a canine or like they have like it's a lot like piping and gibbering.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they were probably just having a conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to that layout where there's the Dogman and the Michigan Dogman. I feel like if they're there and they both don't know you're there and you like step on a stick, I would be way more scared of the Michigan Dogman murdering me because the Dogman will just weirdly walk away.
Yeah, the other guys are like look over. It's like, or they might not even move. They might just like take a glance over and just pray that you think that they're just a homeless guy.
Yeah.
Whereas the Wolfman is coming at, like it looks like it's going to come at you at the very least.
Yeah.
So I also feel like whereas this one's more about a group of creatures. The thing with the Michigan Dogman is it's more of a phenomena.
Yeah.
Like it's more of a spectacle. Whereas the Dogmen of the UK are a little bit more of a subdued, like secretive thing.
Yeah, but that's
like
actually really interesting.
It's more conspiratorial, like conspiracy in that there are these things living among us, kind of thing. Whereas the Michigan one is like, again, like this guy did this song back in the '80s that suddenly that brought to light a bunch of sightings of this Bigfoot phenomena.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're similar in terms of their tone and like how they are approached in terms of their like their sightings and stuff like that. But they are vastly different otherwise in other aspects.
Yeah.
They're absolutely have nothing in common except for all these other things that except for these root things like being born like 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And that doesn't sound ridiculous enough. But yeah, I would like this one more if they described things better.
Yes.
But because there's some things left up in the air, and like we had to have this conversation for me to get the whole twist at the end, because I assuming that it's a handprint, and it gets more and more dog-like.
That was
transformed.
my first reaction, and then we realized that maybe it's them like actually like trying to conceal their movements, like the fact that they have their hind legs are actual dogs, and their forefronts are human.
Yeah.
We did come to that conclusion. Like both of us came to that conclusion while we were discussing it.
Yeah, not during it. Yeah. So in my mind, when I was reading it, I was assuming just a hobo walking on his hands, turning into a wolf. It's just kind of ridiculous looking.
Yeah,
but after talking about it, yes, I understand. But we had to talk about it because it's.
I mean, and like I also don't see that as a bad thing necessarily because like you want your like with stories you do want it to be like memorable, and this is memorable in that we're talking about it. We're having a discussion about it, not just because we have a podcast. I mean, I probably like if I'd read this, I probably would have like talked to you anything about it. So,
but that being said, you shouldn't leave details out specifically for people to theorize what those details are, especially when they're important details to what's actually going on. It's something that the narrator person is physically seeing.
Yeah.
They have a clear look at it, so why can't we?
Okay, yeah.
If it's meant that there is a handprint with a dog paw in the middle of it every time, then that makes you think, oh, it's doing this. Okay, thank you.
No, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I think it's a balancing act because, again, there are such things as like keyhole fiction and like ones that just basically throw you into something and don't explain.
Yeah.
So like that is a legitimate like type of like story writing. Mm-hmm. But it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I think that like it, and I'm not going to even pretend to know how this author was going by because we they didn't reply to the comments or anything like that.
Yeah.
So as best as I can tell, like it might just be that like they just didn't write enough to describe it properly. Mm-hmm. But it might have been more like that, like keyhole fiction.
Yeah.
Or like
were they purposefully not describing enough? I guess, but...
Also, if you want to know what the hell I'm talking about when I say keyhole fiction, look up Slimebeast's YouTube channel and just look up his video on keyhole fiction.
There you go.
He basically describes that.
Better than you can, probably.
Probably. But yeah, so like it's more like I do agree though. Like if that isn't the case, if it's supposed to be like written, like give us a little bit more defined like thing, yeah, we should probably it could be written a little bit better.
Hmm. So long story short, I
did not read.
I will tentatively recommend it, but I would prefer it to be longer to have more information, so we get a visual of what is being told to us.
Yeah.
So I'm not flipping back and forth. Is he furry? Is he not? Is he all man? Is he all not man? Does he transform? Does he not transform?
Yeah, which we'll get into. Like, I mean, if this was to be brought longer, if we were having another story about it, I would assume that would be the next like step in the thing, or like it would leave like, or somebody else could write something like that, like about this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't need an origin. I don't need to know why this is happening. Yeah, exactly. I just want to be able to see what's being seen by everyone else. Yeah. It's like I have blinders on for no reason when the characters themselves don't. But yeah.
All right. Fair enough. So, I don't know if you actually said you recommend.
I said tentatively.
Tentatively recommend? Okay.
I would like more information, but I enjoyed it, and it's an interesting way to do it, so I appreciate it.
Okay. Cool. So that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, if you didn't, leave a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. I'm on Twitter at the Review Cultist, or at Review Cultist. Mm-hmm. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow on Xbox Live, but without the W because Microsoft hates them.
And Mikey is also on Twitter at E stands for evil.
I mean, I usually don't, unless they're here, I don't usually include that, but okay.
You're just going to ignore the fact that he exists?
No,
just because he has a tummy ache?
Yeah.
From eating those pancakes without the orange juice.
God. Don't spoil the behind the scenes.
Oh shit.
Anyway, and if you'd like to send us an email, you can go to aldenterigamortis, or you can send us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDNTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. You can also check out the title cards for each episode at crazonstudios.tumblr.com or on the YouTube channel, Al Dente Rigor Mortis, where you can check out the videos of each episode. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tiers currently. $2 will get you special episodes. Sometimes we go to cons, so we'll do a con report. We do special Patreon things like Al Dente Real Talk, which is our movie review thing that we're kind of working on. It's in the works.
Yeah.
But other special little things, including Gamer in Yellow and Mikey do Al Dente Reloaded and Revelations. Revelations is for the $2 tier and deals with them basically riffing on our old shows that they were not part of and trying to have a revelation while doing so. Mm-hmm. And then for the $5 tier, we have Early Access and Al Dente Reloaded, which is Mikey and Gamer in Yellow going back to these stories that that myself, Review Cultist, and Dr. Leviathan read originally for the show, that they were not privy to, and forming their own opinions about them.
Prior to us actually listening to your opinions.
Yes.
So we could see how our opinions differ pre and post what you guys said.
Yeah. So, if you want to support the show that way, that would be great. If not, that's cool. Have fun listening to our episodes. That's all we ask for. For those of you who are a patron, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those dastardly hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well. So the Michigan, or so much
It's
editing.
going so well. Because the heart and soul is not
Our pillar is gone.
Yeah.